Hey guys, it's Xander here, and we're back looking at decks in Modern. This is actually a deck list that I put together for my Deck Doctor series. If you haven't checked it out, check out the video. The original list was something just trying to abuse Pelt Collector. I contacted the guy asking what he was trying to do. When he come back and he said, I'm just trying to break Pelt Collector. I'm like, well, this is my idea, and I posted this list up. The list is getting a lot of positive feedback, so I thought I'd do a bit of a showcase in my Modern playlist for it. This is going to be a video just for my version of the list. So I'm just going to talk about the main deck here and talk about the sideboard and interactions between, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So to start off the lineup, we're running a 4 of Bloodbraid Elf, which is for 4. So 2, a red and a green. It's a 3/2 Elf Berserker with haste and Cascade. So when you play it, you keep revealing cards off the top of your deck until you hit something that's a cheaper converted mana cost, and then you may play that card. And then you put the rest of the cards on the bottom in a random order. 4 of Vexing Devil, which is for 1 red, a 4/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may have target opponent deal 4 damage to him or her. If he does, sacrifice Vexing Devil. A 4 of Death Shadow. Death Shadow is an awesome card. It's been really prominent in the Modern format. It's for 1 black. It's a 13/13 avatar. Those stats are insane, I know, but Death Shadow gets neg X, where X is your life total. The life total doesn't stay high for long because we are running so many pain lands or shock lands in the deck, but it's great for what the deck's trying to do anyway. Pelt Collector. So this is the card that we're trying to break. It's for 1 green. It's a 1/1 elf warrior with whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pelt Collector's, you put a +1 counter on him. And then as long as Pelt Collector has 3 or more +1 counters on it, it has trample. So what's going to happen is Pelt Collector on turn 1, play a Vexing Devil, it gets a counter, it's a 2/2. If they take the 4 damage and let us sacrifice it, that gives us another counter on the Pelt Collector. Now turn 2 he's swinging as 3/3. If we're on low enough life, Death Shadow is going to be able to trigger it when it comes in, or if it dies, because Death Shadow is going to be more of a threat than the Pelt Collector is. But it's not hard for this deck to get 4 counters on this guy at all. It's just dirt cheap creatures into more value. It's great. Speaking of dirt cheap creatures with more value, we are running a 4 of Tarmogoyf, which is for 2, 1 and a green. Star 1+star creature Lurgoyf, with Tarmogoyf's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. Anything in the graveyard, land, instant, sorcery, creature. A lot of the times when we're playing this, it's already going to be a 2-power, 3-power guy. Insanely good card. Which brings us to the last of the creatures in the deck, but probably one of the most important, because this is the thing that's pulling it all together to break the interaction between Pelt Collector and Death Shadow, and that's Varel's the Scarstripe, which is a legendary creature troll warrior for 3, so 1, a green, and a black. It's a 2/2. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge. The Scavenge cost is equal to its converted mana cost, so when you scavenge, you can exile a card from your graveyard by paying its mana cost, and you put +1 counters equal to that card's power on target creature. Scavenge only is a sorcery, and it's also got sacrifice a creature to regenerate Varel's the Scarstripe. So what happens here is, through our interactions with creatures, we end up with a Pelt Collector, we end up with a Death Shadow in the bin, we play a Varel's, and then for 1, we can put 13 +1 counters on Pelt Collector. Bam, it's a 14/14 Trampler, if we haven't played anything else, which more often than not we will have. Insanely good. Or we can pay 1, put 4 +1 counters on it. Still going to be a big Trampler. Again, just a crazy interaction between the Pelt Collector and the Varel's here. The Scavenge on this thing is an absolute beast. The card is an absolute all-star in this deck. It's the reason the whole deck works. It's just great. A bit of card draw and trying to get stuff into the bin for Varel's in the form of Faithless Looting, which is for 1 red. It's sorcery speed. You draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. Flashback for 3, so 2 and a red. You can do it again from your graveyard. 4 of Lightning Bolt, a little bit of removal or damage to the face, depending on what you're trying to do with the deck. For 1 red, at instant speed, you deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Some discard in the form of Thoughtseize, which is for 1 black. It's at sorcery speed. Player reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card, and you lose 2 life. I've gone for Thoughtseizes in the main deck over other discard spells because we are trying to do Death Shadows as well. Obviously, the Pelt Collector Varel's plan is the big thing that we're trying to go for, but being able to play a Death Shadow just like you would a normal Death Shadow is something that makes the Death Shadow decks win in Modern, so we're obviously going to be trying to do that as often as possible as well. Just a great card. Some added removal in the form of Fatal Push. It's for 1 black at instant speed. You destroy target creature if its converted mana cost is 2 or less. If you've triggered Revolt, you destroy target creature with converted mana cost 4 or less. Revolt's easy in this deck. We're sacrificing creatures, we're playing Vexing Devils and they're letting them die, we're tapping and sacking lands. It's more often than not, we're going to be playing this for 1 and killing a 4-cost guy. It's great. 2 copies of Culligan's Command in the main board here. It's for 3, so 1, a black, and a red. At instant speed, you can choose 2 of the abilities. So you can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. You can make target player discard a card. You can destroy target artifact, or you can deal 2 damage to target creature or player. Doing 2 of those things for a 3 cost, insane. It's a great card. To finish off the spells in the deck, we're running a single copy of Temur Battle Rage, which is for 2, so 1 and a red. At instant speed, target creature gains double strike until end of turn, and it also has Ferocious, which is that creature also gains trample until end of turn if it's a creature with power 4 or greater. So we can make our Vexing Devils a 4/3 double strike with trample. You can give Death Shadow double strike and trample. Pelt Collectors, more often than not, they're going to be big enough to be tramples anyway, but double strike on it's always going to be good. Double striking Tarmogoyfs is good. It's just insane. We're also running a couple of copies of this in the sideboard, just in case that's the kind of win con you want to go for. Situational, but usually it's a pretty good plan. Touching on the land base here, we're running a 3 of Blood Crypt, which is a Swamp Mountain that comes in tapped unless you pay 2 life. A 3 of Stomping Ground, which is a Mountain Forest, comes in tapped unless you pay 2 life. A 3 of Overgrown Tomb, which is a Swamp Forest, comes in tapped unless you pay 2 life. 3 of Wooded Foothills, which has tap, pay 1 life and sacrifice it. Search your library for a mountain or a forest. 3 of Bloodstained Mire, which has tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for a swamp or a mountain. 2 copies of Verdant Catacombs, which has tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for a swamp or forest. 2 forests and a mountain. With all that pain land, Death Shadow is going to get to the point where we can play it and gain the value out of it anyway. The redundancy package with the Varels, the cascading anything else that isn't Bloodbraid out of the deck, insanely good. The deck just works stupid well. The synergies is insane, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. Touching on the sideboard here, we're running a 3 of Surgical Extraction, Phyrexian Black, so you can either pay 1 black or 2 life. At instant speed, you choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles their library. Awesome card. It's always going to be useful in this deck, especially being able to thought seize something out of their hand and then get rid of all the copies of it. Can often be pretty crippling for a deck. Or if they go to do part of a combo piece, but we shut it down somehow, and we just get rid of all of that combo piece, Surgical's just an insanely good card. It's a staple in the modern format for a reason. It's great. 3 copies of Inquisition of Kozilek, which is for 1 black. At sorcery speed, target player reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it with converted mana cost 3 or less, and that player discards that card. 3 or less is 90% of the modern format. Everyone's playing really low to the ground. Everyone's playing cheap stuff. So this is 95% of the time going to hit something in their hand in the early game. And it's just a great bit of discard to put in during the control matchups. For Graveyard Hate, we're running a 3 of Tormod's Crypt, which is for 0. It's an artifact, and it's got tap, sacrifice it. Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Some artifact and enchantment removal in the form of Nature's Claim and Ancient Grudge. So Nature's Claim is for 1 green. At instant speed, you destroy target artifact or enchantment, and its controller gains 4 life. A lot of the times we're dealing so much damage that a little bit of the life gain on their side isn't really going to do much. Ancient Grudge is for 2, 1 and a red. At instant speed, you destroy target artifact, flashback for 1 green. Set our colors, and recursive removal to artifacts is always going to be good. And the other 2 copies of Temur Battle Rage in the sideboard here. And that is Pelt Shadow in Modern.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see new videos as they were released. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, you can throw me $1 on my Patreon at patreon.com/ZandersQuest. And I will see you guys in the next video. Keep questing, guys.